Without you, Joan, none of this would be happening. I am, and I know all of us are, forever grateful for your incredible generosity, passion, and love for this city and life-changing plan for everyone to honor your father, J.R. Payden's heritage. Please join me, folks, in welcoming Joan Payden. I'd also like to welcome Joan's boots on the ground here in Derby is Meg Lampazzi with her husband Anthony and son Will. Welcome, Meg and family. Representing Mayor Zekin today is Chief of Staff Andrew Vaklik. Andy Cota, Chairman of the Parks and Recreation Committee. Representative Linda Gentile. The very talented architect of the J.R. Payden Fieldhouse in Payden Park, Peter DeBrittville. The individual who will guide us moving forward, our newly appointed project manager from JLL, that's Jones, Lang, and LaSalle, Peter Radar. And Dan Wilson and his team from Turner and Construction, who will be building this dream come true for us. And Luke McCoy from Castle Blues Associates, who has been tremendous help throughout this entire process. There are so many people to thank for why we're here today that have sacrificed countless hours, days, evenings to get us to where we are today. People who have dropped everything to ensure when it comes to this project, things get done. If I were to call out all of them, even with winding our clocks ahead just last week, we'd still be here till dark. So I'd like to read to you at least the committee members who get together at a minimum every 2 weeks to help guide us. And please know that many of them, it goes well beyond attending a meeting every 2 weeks. And for some of them, it is something new every day that is being asked of them. The committee members, Andrew Cota, Andy DeFala, and I'm going to pause here. Anthony is one of those individuals who gives everything and then asks, what else can I do? And what else do you need? Ted Estewan. There are some people you turn to be on a committee, and yes, I did reach out to Ted personally because of what they bring to the table. And Ted is one of those guys. Whether after practice on a weekend or just whenever you need him, which could be a phone call from the parking lot in the gym on a Saturday morning, you know he will always pick up the phone and ask, what do you need? And that's Coach George French. Peter Olenowski, Jim Gilday, Laura Harris, Janine Netto, Ken Marcusio, George Kurtica, Dan Foley, Debbie Borelli, Casey Pacheco, and Rebecca O'Hara. Martin Pascal, a.k.a. Falco. That was one heck of a first pitch, Falco. Thank you. Others who were at the table, former Board of Ed members, Chris Robinson and Andy Mancini. Our athletic director, who is everywhere, every moment you need her, Rachel Caggiano. And someone I lean on every day, while he has earned the nickname from my administrators as Mr. Isno, due to his strict conservative guardianship of ours and your tax dollars, no is never part of his vocabulary when it comes to asking him for help, Mr. Mark Izzo. And our IT department, headed by Costa Mazatharis and Carmen D'Onofrio. And our managing principal at Payden and Rigel, Greg Morrison. Our facilities and maintenance department run by Dave Nardone, and our Department of Public Works, no matter what the request is, gets it done. Thank you to our building inspector with us today, Carlos Samanti, and our fire marshal, Phil Hawks, both very instrumental along the way in this process, as you could imagine. With us today are some of our students and athletes, including those who have made significant sacrifices so those who follow them will have a better playing experience. Because of the timing of the projects, we have relocated graduation this year. Because of the deep pride, the deep passion for tradition, the tradition that we breed and bleed, this graduating class, while they will walk across the same stage, that stage will not be on Ryan Field. It will be on Nolan Field, at their choice due to the project. So we've asked some here today to represent their class so we can recognize the sacrifice they are making, the break in tradition they are experiencing, so all others who follow can have a much better experience. I'd like to call upon Anthony Slowick to share a thought with you that has resonated with me ever since I first heard it. Anthony?
At the last voting for the graduation, the majority vote won. It was Nolan Field. I was not one of those voting members. I voted for Woodick Park, but what I said was you could take the kid out of Derby, but you can't take the Derby out of the kid. And that really, it just shows how much pride you have to be willing to graduate at your opposing town and to be able to walk across their field instead of your own. So, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Anthony. You know, when we talk about this project and heritage and what it means for Joan and the deep traditions that as a community we cherish, the years of tradition. Thank you, Anthony, for those comments, because it just really brings home what this is all about. At this time, I ask you turn your attention to this wonderful woman to my left, while 3,000 miles away has made all of this possible. Please join me in welcoming Joan Payden to say some words.
Thank you for those two kind words. My only regret is that I'm 3,000 miles away. But the way you've set this up, I feel like I'm there. And it was just about a year ago, I think, that I visited Derby. But, you know, I do have a couple things to say. Everything has two ways. I know that all of you are grateful being able to do this, but you have no idea what it means to me. I'm in the financial business, not in the construction business. I'm learning that. I bug Matt all the time, I think. But, you know, I thought that was exciting in my life. But the last year and the people I've met at Derby have just been incredible, and I really mean that. My father was an only child. His father died early, and so the high school meant a great deal to him. And when I called Mark Izzo just about a year and a half ago to see if I could do anything for the school, it was the most exciting thing I've really ever done in my life. I am still a New Englander, although I've been out in California all my life. You never get rid of those genes. But the other thing that and I'm just not saying this, I don't think I've ever met a group of people that have come together that are dedicated, that are bright, that are committed. It's been exciting. And I've done a lot of things, but you're top on my list. So my thanks go to you to be able to give me this opportunity. And the people that I've met, from Peter to Phil, who was our architect, to the construction people, to Matt and Mark. And the fact is that you've let me sort of come in and follow the steps as they came. But today is very, very special. Now, when is the building going to be built? I'm very impatient. But I want to thank everyone, and I will be back there in a couple of months. But again, it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity on both sides. Many, many thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you very much. Please join me in welcoming Joan's relative, her boots on the ground in Derby, Meg Lampazzi.
Thank you, Matt. I just wanted to say I echo Joan's passion here for Derby, and just to be a part of this has been really awesome. We live in Oxford, but obviously my heritage is from Derby and Shelton, and this has been really great just to participate in it. And I think just to do something like this for high school students, the best thing you can do for high school students is to give them somewhere to go after school. Something to do, something involved with sports. I know that saved me and my brothers. So. It's really great to be a part of this, and my little guy, Will, who's 7, is here, and he's excited too, right, Will? So just thank you very much for allowing us to be a part of this, and to pass on some goodness to the next generation. It's always an opportunity for those of us, who've been given to give back. It's just as important as receiving. So thank you.
Thank you, Meg, very much, and for all your time with our meetings and keeping us going on the right track here. I would like to call upon Andrew Backlick to say a few words on behalf of the mayor.
Good morning, everybody. I'm just going to echo pretty much what already has been said. A huge resounding thank you to the Payden family, specifically to Joan. Much like her father, I grew up on these grounds, and the sports here were a very important part of my upbringing. So this is a project that I've been excited to see from the outside as a citizen, but now being a part of the new administration, it's an honor to be able to stand up here and personally thank her and her family for this generous contribution. Our kids are going to really benefit from this for decades and decades to come. So thank you. In addition to that, I apologize on behalf of the mayor that he couldn't be here today. He had a prior obligation, but I know that he would be proud to see this gathering of people who are committed to this community. I'm going to echo the sentiments of my not so little cousin Anthony Slowick, who's our Albarella winner. When I say you can take the Derby, you can take the kid out of Derby, but you can't take the Derby out of the kid. And I am one of those kids. I moved away from here and came back, and this is the type of thing that brought me back here. Our sense of community is really second to none. No matter where you go, Joan, trust me, you don't really want to be here. It's 30 degrees right now, so stay in California. But thank you again so much. I'm going to turn it back over to Doc, and thank you for everything that you have done and that this committee has done to see this project to come to fruition. I look forward to actually seeing the structure here and being able to break bread in there with all of you guys once we get it up and running. So thank you again.
Thank you, Drew. A project of this type has many moving parts and requires communication at multiple levels to get things done right, on budget, and on time. We have an individual with us today who has played a critical role in that happening and has supported this project at the state level in multiple ways since day one. Please join me in recognizing Representative Linda Gentile.
Thanks, Matt. It's really a pleasure to be here. Joan, I want to thank you and your family, and I want to issue a plea to all of us that are here today. There was extreme generosity on the Payden family here to do this for our kids. And there's nothing greater than that. The satisfaction that you get from giving is so powerful. So I issue a plea to each and every one of you here today, regardless of how little or how big you can do. Whenever you have an opportunity to pay it forward, I suggest that you do so, because you will get so much more out of it than you ever could have imagined. And anything that we can do for our kids, all the research tells us that if you keep kids active in sports, they get so much out of it. They do better in school, they're less likely to get in trouble, It's just such a positive thing. And so I'm very happy that Dr. Conway was able to hold the ceremony and have us here today. And I was glad that myself and my colleagues, I see Themis is here with us today, were able to do our little bit to help push this project forward. I thank you all for having me here, and I thank you especially for our youth. Thank you, Joan.
It gives me great pleasure at this time to introduce to you the Republican leader of the House, Representative Claridis.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's so nice to see a happy occasion occur around the state, and I want to thank Representative Gentile for her words. My sister Nicole Claridis Detria is actually stuck in a public health committee meeting, so she couldn't be here. But I can't give enough thanks to Joan and what she's done on behalf of her family, because this is what the state of Connecticut's future is. It's about public-private partnerships. It's about people who want to give back out of the goodness of their heart because of the experiences that they or their family has had. It's about working together in a bipartisan way, as we have, to fix a state law that, in my opinion, is just ridiculous and punishes people who want to help and give back. That is one thing that we can all agree on, whether we're in Derby, whether in Connecticut, whether we're anywhere in this country, that we want to encourage people to give back, to give out of the goodnesses of their heart. And when there are state laws that don't encourage that and actually discourage that, I certainly, and I know my colleagues, will always be the ones behind that, fixing it and making sure it doesn't happen. Thank you again, Joan, for this wonderful contribution that you've made. I know the kids of Derby and the citizens of Derby will not soon forget it. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Claridis. I'd like to ask our Parks and Recreation Commission Chairman, Mr. Andy Cota, to say a few words.
I'm a lifelong resident of Derby, and the only thing that I can always remember is how close I am to everybody in this community. And the whole valley is like that. And I always think of connections whenever I think of Derby. Every face that I see here, I think I know everybody. I probably know all of your family. I was lucky enough to have been the police chief for a number of years. I got to serve in Derby for many, many years, and proud to have done that. But I always think of the connections that we have. And no matter what happens from the time we're little kids, like when our kids are playing football, how much we remember all of those things. And we all just kind of just come together on such a great level that we all know about what it is that we want to do, how we want to get there. And when I talk about connections, the thing that I have to remember is how we got here today. It all started out, I think it was back in 1999 when Jack Walsh and his committee were trying to figure out how to come about all of the facilities that we need in order to have sports be vibrant in the community. And with that, they developed a program, and they carried it forward, and all the politicians and all of the chairman boards and all of the people that are on these boards, the Board of Education, all of these people have tried for years and years to move forward with that project. From 1999 until Dr. Conway arrived here a few years ago, we were able to finally make a connection to make this happen. And how that connection happened was Dr. Conway was able to get to the right people in Hartford. He was able to wake somebody up and say, let's get to work on these particular projects. Can we do something? And that actually was a very great thing to do, but then the funds started to dwindle. We were unable to get the amount of money that we were able to need to do these particular projects. So with that said, as we've said before, that what happened was through a phone call, another connection was made, where after the loss of some of the money from the state, which is also, we're grateful for that, is that they were able to make connections with Joan Payden. And she was just opened her heart right up to Derby. She's one of our family members, and we recognize that. And she's picked up this thing, and she's just traveled with it. One phone call from a former member of part of our family. Her father, just like the rest of us and probably all of our children, had the same knocks and bumps out there on this football field, on the baseball field, wherever they played. They remembered Derby. There was a certain blood that just flows through this community. And he realizes that. His daughter realizes that. And with that, Joan has decided that we're worthy, that she would bring her father's name back into our community, so we would all remember his name, but we would all be attached like a big family. And I think that's what we are. And I think as we move forward in this great community, I think that this is going to be the earmark that's going to make Derby something completely different. It's just going to grow in such a manner that we're going to see great things. I'm hoping that downtown is fulfilled and all the other projects that we've always talked about, so that when somebody drives through the valley, they don't just go up Route 8 or down 34. They're going to want to stop in Derby, and they're going to want to see the great things that we have here and will have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman Cota. I'd like to ask the architect of this beautiful project, Mr. Peter de Britville, to say a few words. Peter?
There is far too much to say, and at events like this, brevity is to be rewarded, and I think Anthony's going to win that award. I was going to start by saying to Joan, thank you, my friend Joan, but the way Joan moves in the world, I think we all rate her as our friend at this point. A remarkable woman, a remarkable generosity has made all of this possible. And this is a very special project for me because as an architect, you don't necessarily get involved in an entire community of people who care deeply about the project that you're working on. And this building has every bit of that, and it's, I feel like I'm forming friendships and associations that I will never forget and hopefully continue way beyond the completion of this building. And that is also very much in the spirit of the building, which, if you have a chance to look at it, I just want to say a few things. It goes from the street, in other words, it has a public end here, and it goes all the way up the hillside to the school. So it's connecting the school and the city, and that's also true of the building itself. It has an assembly hall, we call it the Great Room. It has exhibition spaces, which are public spaces. They're for the school and for the whole city to use for a series of events. The building is also designed to be generous in its outlook and accommodation around its whole perimeter, so that there are porches overlooking both fields available all seasons to be used and embraced and explored by anyone who is interested in coming to an event at the school. And so I thank Joan, I thank all of you for being just so extraordinary and so generous in your embracing of me and my work, and Heather Bison, who is the project architect, is here also. I hope you get a chance to talk to her. And I have to confess, I think I'm being infected by a virus which is going to cause me to turn up at Friday night high school football games. I'm very anxious about this. I have busy weekends, but I think I'm going to find myself in this place on Friday nights in the fall, and I look forward to that very much. Thank you.
Peter, thank you so much for your vision. I would now like to ask Dan Wilson from Turner Construction to say a few words.
I'd like to thank the City of Derby, JLL, and obviously Joan for selecting Turner to be their partner on this exciting project. We're looking forward to actually getting things started. We've got subcontractors out to bid, and we're ready to get a shovel in the ground officially, and then hopefully get this wrapped up for spring of 2019, where the students can enjoy your new field. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. And with us today, our project manager from Jones, Lang, and LaSalle, Peter Radar.
Well, thanks. It's clear that you guys have an awesome community here. And Joan, thanks for the vote of confidence you had been put in JLL. We're happy to be part of the team. You have a great team on board here. We're rolling up our sleeves and getting to work, and looking forward to the the ribbon cutting in the spring. So thanks again for the vote of confidence. I'm confident we're going to have a successful project here, and once again, happy to be part of the family. Thanks.
Thank you, Peter. It is now time for our official groundbreaking. You can join us over by the pile of dirt. Yes, please.
Put the hat on it.
Guys, all the committee members, please join us up here as well. Committee members, please join us. Mr. Brittville, Peter, come on up. Huh? Peter? Come up. From the committee?
Where's Ken? Ken's.
Yep. Mr. Mercutio.
Right across the top.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, the dirt is behind us. Back there, the dirt.
Forgot where the dirt was.
Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, y'all set? More bait. Not a thing.
Thank God. All right. All right, very good. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you for all your help getting us here.
Thank you, Matt.
Somebody should have spoken. Go back and take your nap I submit your will.
Thank you.
This was a long time coming. I had to mention you because you're really the big player.
Oh, I appreciate it. You're great.
Stay involved.
I am. I'm in sores now, though.
Stay involved.